Alright, beautiful people, welcome to another video. In this video we are going to take a look at the DJI Avata. Not the Avata 2, not the upcoming Avata 3, but the original, the OG DJI Avata that came out in 2022. And that is an FPV, a first-person drone. And we're going to look at it and see whether or not it's worth buying in 2025. I've been flying drones for a long time. The earliest video I have of myself flying a drone was from about 2012, and I know that I had quadcopters before that. I've been flying FPV since 2014, and that was when I first got into FPV, and I was using these weird video goggles, and I had an external video transmitter. It was terrible. It was all really cumbersome. And so the hobby has come a long way in a relatively short period of time. Now I have a plethora of drones here in front of you. I have the original DJI Mavic. I have a Sinlog 35 V2, a Pavo 20 Pro, and the Avata. These drones all serve different purposes. This drone here is great for doing external photography. It has a multi-axis gimbal, and the camera can basically turn this way and that, up and down, and you can fly this around outdoors and get great shots using it. So, when you're traveling, for example, a friend of mine went to Iceland, and he took this drone to record the volcanoes and some of the scenery around Iceland. The problem is you're not going to fly this drone inside of a house. This drone is great. It is a Cinewoop, which means it has ducted props, and it has the ability to carry an action camera. I have the DJI Osmo Action 4. I can also carry the Insta360 camera on top of this drone. It's a powerful drone, it's got pretty big props, and they're ducted, which means that these protect you if you run into something. Like if you run into a person, you run into a car, you run into a wall, these ducts are going to protect the thing that you're hitting from the propellers. The propellers aren't going to hit the thing that you're hitting. On the other hand, we have the Pavo 20, which is a much smaller quadcopter. You can see it's got tiny little props. This again is a Cinewoop, which means that it's got the ducted props. They're protected, so you hit things and you don't damage things with the propellers. But it's a much smaller quadcopter, and it's not going to be able to carry an action camera. Now the Avata, it's kind of like a mix between the Sinlog 35, the Mavic Pro, and the Pavo 20. It's got the articulated gimbal, it's a little bit smaller, and it has the ducted props, which allows you to fly this indoors safely and easily. It also adds some stronger control features. It has a good position hold, so you can fly it safely indoors without worrying about damaging things. This is my original DJI Avata, the first DJI Avata, and it came out about 2 years ago. This is a quadcopter with a one-axis gimbal on the front. Battery goes in the back, and it's got a downward-facing camera and some sensors, ground sensors, in the bottom. This drone can be used with two controllers. It can be used with this controller here, which is one-handed, meant for use with one hand, and you control the drone by tilting the controller and by pulling the trigger. It can also be used with a more traditionally styled remote control for this type of drone. Now, what really makes this drone special is its ability to work with FPV goggles. And so these goggles have lenses on the inside and a screen or screens on the inside, and they connect up to the camera, and they allow you to fly the drone as if you are flying from inside of the drone itself. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to get out there into the world, and it's a great way to get a new perspective of the world around you. I really bought this thing for two reasons. One, I recently got my Part 107 license, and I'm going to be teaching a class where my high school students are going to be able to get their Part 107 license. Now, the idea behind getting this is that I thought that it would be a good drone for beginners to use, especially, and it would be a drone that I could also use to do interior real estate photography and interior real estate videography for local friends who happen to be real estate agents. One of the things that I love about this drone is that I can just take this controller, I can hand it to a random person, I can put the goggles on their face and have them up and flying and having a good time, an enjoyable experience in minutes. I feel totally comfortable handing this off to somebody who's never flown a drone before. This is especially useful when I'm at the park flying either my Sinlog 35 V2 or my Pavo 20. There's a local dog park where I like to go and fly. I like to rip around out there. And every once in a while there'll be somebody who comes up to me and they're either annoyed or they don't get it or they don't know what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. And being able to pull out the Avata, slap a pair of goggles on their face, and hand them either of these two controllers and have them up and flying themselves in minutes is a game changer in terms of being a FPV ambassador. More recently, I've been using this drone to get new people up in the air. What I do is I hand the people this controller, I hand the people these goggles, and they put them on their face, I hand them the controller, I give them a 2-minute tutorial, and have them up and flying around in no time. It's a lot of fun, and it gets new people out there and into the hobby.
One of my favorite uses of the Avata is to allow new people to have the experience of flying FPV. Recently, we hosted a STEM day at a local elementary school. You can see me there sweating my brains out. It was really hot and I was running around. What I did was I paired up 3 pairs of goggles in the Avata and I handed the kids motion controller and I allowed them to chase me around the gym. For the overwhelming majority of these kids, it was their first time flying a drone. I think one of the kids' dad had a drone, and the kid had either watched his dad flying or maybe touched the controls once or twice. Realistically, these kids, it was their first time doing anything, and the kids were able to follow me around the gym. Notice how they're tracking me pretty well, and they're able to keep up. My hope is that this will develop a lifelong love of the hobby, of engineering, of STEM, of robotics, and will really let them see the potential of how they might apply some of these skills in their future. I think positive early experiences are important. These kids are going to go home and talk to their parents about how much fun they had flying a drone. At some point in their lives, they might pick up a controller, pick up a drone, and start being in the hobby along with me. This is basically the way that we can build the future of this hobby by giving kids these positive experiences and allowing them to have a good time with it. Over the past couple of years, we've been developing a flight program at our high school. The flight program focuses mainly on fixed wings, but we have been incorporating some drones. Between my coworker and I, we've acquired 3 DJI Avatas, and we've been letting the kids fly them, and I've been kind of going in the morning and flying with them sometimes. What you can see here is a kid flying, and I am chasing them with a Pavo 20. The kid is flying 3-dimensionally, so they are making use of the entire space. They're flying up onto the balcony, they're flying down the stairs, they're going in between the tables. They're really using all of the space in a kind of three-dimensional way. Now, currently in this video, I believe we have 3 O3 based flight units in the air at the same time. We're doing this without much conflict. There's a little bit of breakup if you first start up flying when you're sitting too close to another person that is already flying, but that goes away pretty quickly. This has been a lot of fun and just zipping around in the sub. We have tried setting up some courses. The kids can follow them using the Avatas. They're not so good using the smaller drones like the tiny whoops that we have available for them. Hopefully they'll begin to develop that throttle control over time, and really the Avata gives them a way into the hobby without needing to know too much or be too good as a pilot.
Head tracking is on.
This is my first experience using the head tracking system on the DJI Avata.
Wrong button.
I wanted to include this so that you could get my honest reaction to using head tracking for the first time.
I'm using head tracking for the first time, and it's freaking weird, because, I mean, it's like I'm not necessarily looking where I'm going. I mean, I am, but it's hard, because, like, oh, that's so weird. Yeah, okay. Okay, so, oh, this is so weird. This is such a weird sensation. Because, I mean, where I'm looking and where I'm going aren't necessarily the same. And so it's just a lot to coordinate. Oh, that's so wild. Okay. But what's cool about it is, whoa, yeah, see, okay, so yeah, it's a lot to coordinate. What's cool about it is that I can, oh yeah, right? Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it would be really hard to make this smooth, or to make this, you know, it's so weird, because you have to coordinate, like, 2 different things. So, like, apparently I'm looking down a little bit more than I thought I would be. I need a better posture. Alright, but, okay, so basically the camera tilt is not based on the directions you're giving the drone, but instead it's based on where, so the drone doesn't go where your head is tilted, it goes where the controller is tilted. But it means that you can kind of control the camera gimbal separate from flying. I'm sure there's limitations to this, but what's making it weird is that, like, you can look away from where you're going and then kind of lose track of where you're going, and you also really have to, like, focus on looking and flying. Oh, and works from side to side too. Oh, that's crazy. Okay, so like, I would love to be able to see what the drone is actually doing, but that's okay. Because it's like the camera and the drone are separate from each other. So like, I'm looking off to the side right now, and I'm basically strafing. Oh, that's so wild. Yeah, no, this is pretty wild. Like, this is actually pretty wild. Like, that's pretty impressive. So yeah, so you can look away from where you're going, and it's kind of keeping track of where you're going separately from where it's looking, which means you can. Oh, that's so wild. I just hit some scraggle. But yeah, no, that is such a strange thing, because I'm not necessarily looking where I'm going, and so it just becomes very, very wild. That is a really cool experience. Alright, that was a really weird and neat and cool experience.
So you guys just watched me do my first fly using a head tracking system. This is a second take where I set up the cameras a little bit better, and part of what I'm trying to do here is show you exactly how this system works. This drone is incredibly loud. I am going to edit the video to adjust the volume just to make sure that you don't, hurt your ears if you're wearing headphones.
So the first time I recorded this, the drone stopped recording because the SD card was full. I figured I'd come back out and just do a little bit more experimenting with it so that you guys could really get a feel for what this drone is capable of and kind of how everything works. So right now the drone is up over the property and we're pretty high up. And now I'm flying out over the road, kind of over the trees. So it's kind of neat because if you get it going, it brakes pretty hard when you let up on the throttle. But again, the ability to look not where the drone is going is pretty mind-blowing, actually. And so yeah, I just figured I'd come out and do a little bit more trying with the head tracking. I just ran into some scraggle. It's funny, I ran into that branch flying my Pavo 20 Pro yesterday. Yeah, so basically, it is really mind-blowing to have the drone have this kind of capability. So yeah, hopefully that gets across how it works and what's going on. Getting into this hobby, even if you're buying used stuff, you're probably not going to get into this hobby for less than $500 or $600, and that's if you're buying, analog drones. And I'll go over this a bit more and kind of where I am and what I'm doing. So here you have a digital drone that you can pick up for $550. So here you get the drone, you'd get goggles, you'd get a controller. And I think those are the goggles too, which means you've got a little bit of future protection in terms of being able to use the O4 Air unit. You've got a charger, all right, one battery it looks like. Now you can pick up a Fly More kit for another $200, and you're looking at $750 for a drone, several batteries, a charger, a controller, and a pair of goggles. All right. A new pair of goggles is going to cost you $500 if you buy them new. So buy them used. And if you look at used goggles, they're listing at used DJI goggles V2 or goggles 2. The goggles 2, for example, are selling for $500, $400, $500, somewhere in there. So you're really getting a pretty good deal here where you can be up in the air and flying for $550, and you spend a couple $100 more than that. You can even spend that down the road, and you can fly for an hour and a half. Right? Are you going to be able to keep up with people flying 5-inch drones? No. But if you're a beginner and you're just getting started and you want to get into the hobby and you want to see what it's like, that's an amazing deal. Right? $650, and it comes with a case, 4 batteries, a controller, right? You pick up a pair of goggles for another $250. So what are you looking at? $900? $900 for goggles, a drone, 4 batteries, a controller, and a case, and a charger. Not bad. Right? So here you pick up the drone for $250, you pick up a pair of goggles for $250, you pick up a controller for another $200, you pick up batteries for another $200, right? Like that starts adding up. But there are kits here. Now here you'd be bidding, all right? With this one here, you'd be bidding on it, and the bidding's already at $411. I'd bid $800. You bid $800 and you win, great. Right, so the point is, and I'll go over the breakdown for a similar drone
that I think a new person would be frustrated if they bought. And, you can tell me what you think. Because honestly, I look at some of these deals and I think to myself, this isn't a bad way to go. And if you can get into the hobby for this little amount of money, maybe you want to consider that.
When I picked up this drone, I did it wrong. Okay? So what I did is I already had this pair of goggles, and I thought to myself, why would I buy a kit? Because I already have the goggles. So instead of buying a kit, I bought this drone for $250. Then I picked up this controller for another $200. The drone came with a battery. I bought a Fly More kit for another $200. And the drone came with this controller. Okay. Later on, I bought the case and all that good stuff. But the point is that when I bought this drone, I ended up spending about $900. Now, a coworker of mine picked up basically this kit, right? So the controller, the drone, not the controller. She got the drone, this controller, a pair of goggles, and I think one battery, and a backpack, so not a hard case, for $650. Then she sold me the goggles for $200. So she ended up getting basically the same setup. She already had a pair of goggles herself, and she saved a ton of money. She got it for like $450. Now, looking on eBay, that's not likely to happen. You're going to be in the more like $800, $850 range. But I want you to see what an actually amazing deal that is. So this is the GepRC Synlog 35 V2. Now, hands down, this is a much more fun drone to fly, but if you're new to flying drones, this drone is really going to be something that's wicked hard for you to get into. If you want to get into flying drones and you're new, I suggest you go analog, you buy yourself a tiny whoop, you get yourself into a simulator, that type of deal. But let's just break this down. This drone was $550. Now, with the way things are, this drone is $750, right? So there you are, $550. The radio, $150. The charger, $30. I have two batteries, and the batteries were $30 each, and then I bought these goggles for $250. So total, to get up in the air with this drone, I spent about $1,050. I spent $900 on this. And I can hand this controller to 3rd and 4th graders and have them flying around and laughing and having a great time in minutes. So the fact of the matter is if you're new to getting into drones, go ahead, get yourself an Avata. If you're not new to flying drones, let's look at it this way. When I bought this drone, the reason why I bought it is because I am going to be teaching a drone pilot class. I wanted to be able to do real estate fly-throughs as part of that class. And I was looking at it and I was thinking, DJI, they're looking at banning DJI, they're looking at doing all this stuff, right? So I went ahead and I got this drone thinking, I'm going to be able to fly this drone through a house and show off to my real estate friends and show my students how to do this. The reality is, flying a 6S drone indoors is a logistical nightmare. This drone moves a whole lot of air. If something's not tied down, that thing's getting blown all over the place. If there's any dust inside that house, it's getting blown all over the place. And maintaining steady level, slow flight with this drone is going to take a whole lot of practice and a whole lot of experience. I did a real estate fly-through with about an hour's experience on the DJI Avata. I did that fly-through like it was nothing. So, what's the point? The point is, if you want to make money using a drone and you're a real estate agent and you want to be able to do a fly-through, you can I mounted a DJI Action Cam on top of this, and flew it through a house. You could mount a 360 camera on top of this and fly it through a house and do real estate fly-throughs with about an hour's training. With this drone, you're looking at weeks in a simulator. You're not going to be able to do it. It's going to cost you more. And as a beginner, that would be a nightmare. So, is it worth it to buy yourself a DJI Avata in 2025? Absolutely.
All right, beautiful people. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you can, get out there and fly, because I love this hobby and I hope you guys can enjoy it just as much as I do. All right, I'll see you in the next video.
Welcome to HTX. Flight mode acro. Flight mode 2. Flight mode 3. Flight mode acro. Flight mode 3.
This is actually way too much drone
Too much drone?
for here.
How you upgraded?
No.
Because you didn't fix the other one?
I did fix the other one, but these batteries have been sitting fully charged for a few days, and so I really need to use them so that they don't go bad. So I have a 75% throttle cut on. Which makes it a little bit more manageable.
Why do I not? Oh, there we go. There it is.
Ooh. Oh my god.
Zola. wind velocity. Did you see me fly by?
I did. You are much more agile than I am. I'm just telling myself that I am being slow and cinematic on purpose.
Oops.
What?
I played frisbee golf. I didn't consent to being filmed.
Are you stuck in the net?
No.
No, you're on the ground.
Sensor error. There's sensor error.
Oh, probably the ground-facing sensor. It's so weird.
What?
When you like first start up, there's like this weird.
Yeah, it's the same one you did.
I know. It's just weird because I wasn't expecting it. I was flying over the roof. think I could. I think I could do a real estate fly-through with this drone. I think it is physically possible. I think you could do a real estate fly-through with that drone. What did you just hit?
You?
Oh.
Well, almost probably. Did you feel that you're a video jerk?
Yeah.
Impact detected. Motor stopped. No. Take back off. I'm right side up. Aircraft rolled over. No. Motor starting. Wow, that took a long time for it to decide it was okay to fly.
No, that was mean. You're a big meanie.
How dare you hit me?
I don't know. I think you were under me. I think you hit me. I didn't make it back. Nope.
Oh, so sad. The teabag you. I didn't consent to that.
No, I